trying to give you the understanding of what's the background of my paintings. I'm looking at here a painting called Entrepot and Eons, and these are paintings that I began 2 or 3 years ago, as are all the canvases along this wall. And at various times I thought they were completed and I've shown some of them. But I've learned since that time that I wanted to do a lot more. I went to New York a year ago and saw the work of wonderful artists, of course, but also Carrie Moyers, and really noticed that she uses grids in her work and really has a lot of depth and color. And I wanted to understand how some of that would apply in my work. And I looked at some of my canvases, which I've loved, but realized, wow, actually they're a good basis for doing something more, seeing more in them, which became the title of my show. And so I started adding, a sense of a grid, which gave me some blocks of colors in new ways, so that I still had my traditional, what for me is traditional, wide brush strokes with multiple colors, but I began to balance that with more solid blocks of shapes that counter the energetic chaos, and I really like that. And so I've been exploring that a little bit more in all these paintings, taking what I had previously done, but adding sometimes a calligraphic shape, because I love mark making of any kind, but also thinking of where, if I were to just suggest a grid, only partially, but what does it do? What does it bring out that I might previously have missed? So I've done that in this painting, Interbeing. I did it again in this painting, Storm, which also has had a previous life. But I brought in the orange now and kind of messed with the planes, and just a suggestion of grid, and which I've done here too. Kind of beginning with what for me is a calligraphic mark with a wide brush again, and some shapes. Again, I like that conversation between shapes and energy, big strokes. But then what happens when I bring in lines? Only partially, only some places, and not too geometrically perfect, but nonetheless to give solid blocks that kind of converse with what's already there. So this whole show has given me a chance to explore how I'm seeing more in works that I had previously thought were done, but as a result of new influences by other artists, realizing that there's a greater depth that I want to explore. And then I've moved this kind of, as I move over here, I've started working on paper here, which for the last few years I've been strictly on canvases. And I really have enjoyed these works. I decided to show them informally on a laundry line, because I wanted to contrast the formality of canvases on a white wall, like in a traditional gallery, with something that felt more accessible. And so these works are meant to be more accessible. The price point is more accessible. And again, I'm exploring mark making, but with a kind of a grid idea, blocks of color that gives me, and I'm happy with the results. So that's in a nutshell how I've conceived of this show, and I'm really delighted with how it's come together, how it holds the space, and I think it might be a culmination of a certain period in my work. I'm looking forward, when the show is finished, to doing something different. And I don't really know what that'll be, but I'm going to explore and be open-ended and take a period of time before I have another show. And we'll see if a new body of work and a new message, or not message exactly, because I don't embed messages, but still there's a depth of meaning that and layers of meaning that I like to have in my work. So we'll see what happens over the next couple of years.